This session is brought to you by Zurich Life and Investments. These guys are one of the last true independent life insurers going around, and they're Swiss, so you know their stuff is solid. These guys really understand and believe in the value of advice, which is why they invest in programs like this one and partner with groups like XY Advisor to help drive the positive evolution of financial advice in Australia. Their team are just really good people as well. So if you haven't already connected with them, to learn more, check out their website or speak to your business development contact. This session is also brought to you by Sun Super. They're one of the fastest growing profit for members or industry funds in Australia. They were the very first of these funds to partner with advisors, and they've got functionality where you can actually link to your client's Sun Super accounts and charge advice fees through the fund, as well as a number of tech innovations to make it easier for you to work with your clients. They've got great investments. They're really, really cheap. And their team are just generally legends. So if you haven't already connected with Sun Super, give them a shout because they're doing some really cool stuff.
Good evening, Vietnam. It's a good morning, Vietnam. I don't know. It's something from Full Metal Jacket, something or other. Anyway, we are joined by the illustrious Glen James. Mate, how are you?
Hey, I'm well. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming down from Central Coast, bro.
I live to give.
we were just chatting before about where you live.
Yep.
Blue Bay.
Yeah.
God's country.
Love it.
Mate, how good's that beach?
It's pretty good. I mean, I can go down there some afternoons when it's not school holidays and be the only one on the beach.
Oh,
yeah. So
I miss the Central Coast for that.
It's good.
Do you have any clients in Sydney though?
Yeah. 15% of my client base is in Sydney.
Yeah, right. How did that happen?
I had a joint venture with an accounting firm in the city for a couple of years.
Yeah, right.
And I decided I didn't want to keep commuting to Sydney, and it worked out that I was going to have to probably move to Sydney, and because most of the work was coming from there. So I stopped it and actually bought the clients from the accountant.
So how does a Central Coast planner end up with a JV with an accounting firm in Sydney?
It's all to do with relationships and who you meet. That's as simple as that. And it was, we had the same values, and I think that's important. We had the same philosophies, worked great together, but I actually didn't want to ever leave the Central Coast.
I've seen that before.
Man, I agree. Having lived there for a decade,
I'm happy to leave feet first in a box, but...
That's not what you told me. You said you were really happy to leave.
Yeah, don't listen to these Sydney guys, man.
Yeah.
Don't listen to them.
He loves it down
Sydney? Here. What? No.
So what do you do? Do you jam them all into one day, or what do you...
I'm pretty cash, if you haven't noticed. I don't like working too much, so what I'll do if I...
Said like a true financial advisor.
Yeah, so if
You're welcome here anytime.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the hours are fantastic, but the pay isn't great. No, if I book a client in Sydney, I'll always book them in outside of peak times, and then just cruise on down.
Yeah, that traffic's just shit fight.
Just not happening.
Yeah.
I'm happy to meet with anyone anywhere, but it's on my terms.
Have you managed to shift many to online, maybe? It's like any...
It's funny, I was having this conversation with somebody yesterday. I could never run an advice business model and do it online because I'm the type of person, I need to be in the room because I can feel the room more and actually know what you're feeling and just get more of a sense.
I feel like I'm in. Is it Philip? Who's the Beddoes Institute?
Rebecca Shields.
Yeah, I feel like I'm Rebecca interviewing you.
Yeah.
That's a great answer when they're assessing your practice on why you like to be face-to-face with clients.
Yeah, and it's just I'm not that person. It's like I need to be in the room, engaged with the client, and I'm resolved with the fact that I'm okay with that.
Man, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
No.
I think most people agree with you. In fact, even something as simple as a podcast is infinitely better now that we're all in one room.
Yeah.
Rather than over... I mean, some people can do it.
Yeah.
Right? Some people are killers at it.
Yeah.
But the advice, in my limited opinion, is sort of that in the room kind of thing.
Yeah, it's probably taken my talking over the top of clay. You dropped it by 50%.
Yeah. And because like that, how often do you meet with a husband and wife and he's or she or whoever, you know, two parties, one's like gung-ho about, oh, we're doing this. The other one's sitting there squirming in their seat. I want to be able to feel that.
You want to see the squirm?
Yeah, by being in the room. You got to feel the squirm.
You got to know which one's squirming.
Yeah, exactly.
When they're squirming.
Exactly. So it's
financial squirming.
Yeah.
That's a whole new level of advice.
Yeah. So, I mean, I got a lead in Melbourne just before Christmas.
How?
I think Facebook.
From your challenge that you're doing?
No, it wasn't even that.
Oh.
It was just a
picture of you, and they said, I have to
see this guy. You know, if you need financial advice, I need to just go to the best.
Based on that picture.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, he's got a couple of emblems that say he's got. There's a couple of awards that sit on the bottom of your signature as well.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Yeah.
There's a couple of little shelf dust collectors.
What's going on? What have you been winning?
Life. No,
he's still alive. He feels like he's winning.
He's winning at life.
And he's from the Central Coast.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm not going to, I actually don't care about getting a client if I can't sit in front of them.
So to the Melbourne person?
Yeah.
Senile. No luck.
Actually, I said, look, I talked to them on the phone and I said, look, I will chat to you on the phone and then I'll get a vibe for who you are and I'll refer you to 2 or 3 other advisors down there who I think can, you know, work with your character.
Ooh, who got a run?
I'm not going to say...
whoever's listening out there that didn't get a phone call.
It's every Melbourne advisor right now.
I'm not going to say...
I thought we were friends.
But I'm sorry, Steve Crawford, if he did contact you. No.
That's where you send the ones like no one would want.
So and to be honest, I sent him a couple of names. I said, look, you know, give these people a call. I'm sure you'll be looked after. So
you send the annoying ones to Steve, and the good ones to Corey.
Exactly. I'm actually thinking of doing a business model, and it probably won't because you know how you have like 100 good ideas in the shower, but 99 of them suck. Yeah. So this is a good idea. It's like a service where I find you the advisor. The financial advice broker.
Well,
like Pro Advisor.
Pro Advisor, yeah.
Yeah. How do they work?
Well, it's not around anymore.
Yeah. They did a whole lot of SEO and content marketing, and then they would vet people that came through, and then there's a couple of different models that they ran. We'd pay per lead, or they'd put it up there, and I think the first one you get an email, and the first one that responded.
Yeah. Or and actually there's a website.
And I did get a client out of that, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, it worked. Oh, Nick, it worked.
There's a website, and I think it was an American model because they spelt advisor with a OR.
Yeah.
And most of the time when you see that, I believe it's American spelling.
Yes.
Anyway, there's a website and you click down like what type of advice and it's just like a click and it sends you to like these 3 advisors. So it's either do that but in person, like come in, or have the business model, bring me your financial plan and I'll review it for like, I know, it's...
No.
Because
I don't hate it.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, but it's the whole thing. It's like if you're, I don't know, an air conditioner installer, you can install an air conditioner 8 different ways, I'm sure, and all of them are okay. And to a point, that's the same with advice.
Oh, totally.
To a point.
Yeah. So that business will end up just approving everything. Just pay me.
It's rubbish. Go to this guy, and then you probably pick up a referral fee. No.
Actually, I had a really weird story where I almost did that. So I saw someone, and she said, "I'm going to get advice from this other guy," and she said, "But I'd like you to review it before I implement it."
Right.
And it was kind of weird. I'm like, am I breaking this fraternity code, of advisors kind of thing? In the end, I had no problem doing it.
Yeah.
Did you get paid for it?
Nah.
No,
in the end, I looked through it and I said, look, it's okay, and she went with it.
A guarantee way to lock in a relationship, like a financial advice relationship with a client, I do it a fair bit. And I genuinely mean it. I'm like, look, I don't want you to commit to me right now. I would recommend you go speak to somebody else and see if I'm the right fit for you. The minute you say that,
Well,
I tried that a couple of times. They didn't come back.
No. It's because you were doing.
We're talking about financial advice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Not going on a date.
Yeah.
It's completely separate.
Let's go talk to a couple of other guys, see what they've got to offer.
Exactly.
It's just radio silence from the audience.
Exactly. So I'm quite okay. I mean, I don't know if I'm getting older and I just don't actually need the work. You know what is?
Well, how long have you been advising for now?
Oh, I think 12 years.
How long you had your own business?
8 years.
Whoa, that makes you, for us ex-wires,
You're like a veteran.
That's like a veteran in our world.
Right.
How old were you when you started?
I started my business when I was 25.
Oh, it's, yeah.
And
That's
how old are you guys?
34.
30.
Yeah, so I'm 33. And I was 25, and I think I was young enough and dumb enough to think I could do it.
Yeah, I thought that as well.
But apparently it worked out, right? I mean,
Yeah, you just need like 12 years.
Yeah.
It works out okay.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I've only got 7 more.
It's funny, you know that musician Gautier or whatever, how you ever pronounce it. Everyone's like, oh, you're an overnight success, you know, with that song. It's like overnight success doing 10 years of dingy pubs where no one knows you. You know what I mean? So I think, a lot of younger advisors that are listening, and I'm probably ranting, but whatever. You invited
You sound
me
like
here.
one of those older advisors just like telling us what we should do.
Well, it's advice, and it's worth what you pay for it.
Totally.
Just sow the seeds for a couple of years, chill out, and
Well, it reminds me of I think there's a book that talks about the Beatles, the 10,000 hours rule. About before they made it.
Yeah.
Same sort of thing about they did pubs around
Well,
Europe.
I'm actually pretty interested. What were you doing before you opened your own business?
I was working for another advice firm.
So you've done advice your whole professional life then?
Oh well, I'm probably a bit of a hack.
Okay.
I left school after year 11
Yes.
because I didn't want to sit in the classroom of someone telling me what to do. And then I did a telecommunications apprenticeship.
What is like
So,
for
like-
Telstra?
No, like like PABXs, telecommunications, phone systems, data networks.
How long did that last?
4 and a bit years until I was over
shit.
it. So I did the apprenticeship, but I was the youngest in my year at school, so I was a year ahead.
So you were at 16?
Yeah, so I started my
Right.
apprenticeship. So by age 20, I was pretty much qualified, and then I'm like, I need to do something else because I was interested in investing in shares and whatnot. So then I studied, I just enrolled in a diploma of financial planning
Yeah, right.
and just started studying that, and then went to look for a job, and I got an entry-level role.
Where at?
There's a practice at North Sydney.
Okay, so you coming down.
Yeah, so I commuted for 4 and a bit years.
Where in North Sydney?
Mount Street.
Mount Street.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kicked off my financial planning career in North Sydney as well at Dixon Advisory.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, I was really thankful for the time that and I learned from scratch. Like I started in admin, reception, like get the milk, get the mail type role. And then, so I guess that was part of my success is when I'm sitting with a client in my own business, I knew every piece of paper they would have to sign
Totally.
to make the whole process smooth. So it was like the least path of resistance for the client.
Mate, you've got a great story because you started from the bottom essentially, and then I mean
Now he's here.
Now I'm here.
It's your pinnacle.
And it's opportune that I'm here because making it to the XY podcast, I'm announcing my retirement today because I've actually done everything. I mean, good night, nurse. Yeah. I'm done.
Retiring on the Central Coast.
So by 25, you definitely would have known enough.
Yeah.
To open your own business. And where did you? What was your first dealer group? And what was your first
dealer
office?
group was in my own business.
Yep.
Yeah, it was Apogee Financial Planning, and I've been with them since.
Oh, so you've stayed with them?
Yep.
Excellent. And how have you found them?
Great. I mean, and this is the thing. Like, so many people chop and change dealer groups, thinking they're going to solve their problems, but the problem's usually in the mirror, and the problems will follow you. So
True.
you usually don't have a dealer group problem to a point. You usually
Just got too high expectations of what a dealer group should do.
Well,
for you.
exactly. I mean,
or can do for you.
You're running a freaking business first and foremost if you're self-employed, and you need to plug in the license to that business. And yeah, they have some responsibilities to provide you the services that you pay for and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, a dealer group is not going to solve all of your problems.
And
there's no clients walking in my door.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Oh, they
Dealer
don't
group.
fall off trees. Yeah.
And where did you open your first door? So when was your first office? Was it?
It was on the Central Coast.
Yeah.
And I leased an office probably as big as this recording studio.
Right.
Out of a mortgage broker's office.
Where?
On the Central Coast.
Whereabouts?
In Berkeley Vale.
Berkeley Vale.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it was with a loan market office.
Yeah.
Did they refer?
No.
Oh. They're looking at this 25-year-old kid. Who's this kid? I'm a financial advisor.
Well, and this was it. Like, they were old dogs, and in there, they just weren't interested. I mean, if I really wanted to get a referral out of them, it was like, oh gosh, like, when the clients came in, it's like, hey, I'm here, remember, refer.
He'd be standing with a sign as they walk out the door.
But I just resolved, $50 a week was cheap rent, and that'll do me.
Man, $50. Wow,
that's a lot less than Sydney.
How'd you get your first clients?
Okay, so before I started, and this is the reason I went with Apogee Financial Planning, because I looked at 13 dealer groups in 2010, and 5 of them actually do not exist anymore. And I knew it was important that if a dealer group went under, my revenue could be at risk or get frozen. So I wanted a dealer group that wasn't going anywhere.
Right.
Good point.
Secondly, they were like, one of the dealer groups, I called and said, I want to be an advisor. And the next day they just sent me an application like, welcome on board, here's the one pager. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Anyway, they're still around. I'll tell you later. And the other one, and then, so I did all that. But Apogee, a guy called Lee Cheeseman was my contact. They said to me, and they probably thought, who's this kid? They're like, we're not taking you on board unless you show us a business plan with 4 referral sources, because we don't take on businesses who want to fail. So I thought, okay, well, that's, if I can't make that huge, and at the time it was a mountain of crap, like, how am I going to do that?
We're talking about the business plan.
Yeah. And actually have referral sources lined up.
Well, you just write them down. That's
well,
the validation that they do.
But it's true. I had to get clients from somewhere.
Oh, absolutely.
So the first year, I took a couple of sick days as I was genuinely feeling unwell to work, and started.
The stress of starting your own business is strong.
Ill. And then, so before I started lining up referral sources,
right,
that would commit to me, and then the first year I made the decision in my first year of business, I'll never cold call a client. The minute I have to cold call a client, the minute I'm going to sell mobile phones at Westfield. Like, that was, I'm just never going to cold call someone out of the blue.
That is a small group of advisors in Australia that have started a business like that.
But I don't want to.
Not many do.
That's right.
Not many do. But where else do they come?
I do what I want, and I don't do what I don't want. It's pretty simple. And then, so the first year, I spent basically tracking down referral sources and probably met with about 40 different businesses on the coast.
Wow.
And out of that, got a good couple of referral sources.
Yeah, nice.
And
did you look at sea change taxation in Terrigal at all?
No.
Because back in 2010, I was accounting there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Above the subway.
Oh, yeah. I remember that place. Yeah, they're not around anymore.
Nah.
Yeah.
Because I left. The whole
that's right. That's right. No, you were their business model. So yeah, I just put the hustle on, and so I'm like, if I'm going to cold call, I'll cold call referral sources.
Sure, that makes sense.
It's much more leveraged approach.
And now, 8 years later,
yep,
business has matured in that time, and now I see your friendly face quite regularly popping up on my Facebook newsfeed.
Sure.
Tell us, how's it going, your challenge? I want to know what was the impetus and what have you found so far?
Yeah, so I started with my own brand, Sort Your Money Out, a savings challenge for this year, because I really want to just encourage. I read an article that like 57% of people under 24, I think it was, do not even have $1,000 saved. And
who has that much?
Yeah, I know, it's a lot of money, right? But they own an iPhone, which is worth $1,300. Anyway, so I thought, let me try and encourage people en masse.
That's cool, man.
So I just put out a savings challenge, and I've had, and not many people sign up. I've had 50 people sign up to it, many who I don't know.
Yep.
Is this organic or paid?
Well, organic because, well, I guess paid, because I do paid Facebook ads, which gets people to my website.
Yes.
And if they see it there, so yeah.
No, okay, I get
Ish.
it. Yeah, so you're not putting the challenge out as a lead magnet.
Oh, I did as well.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. So yeah, I'm doing a savings challenge and doing it myself, and I've set up Active Campaign to track that.
Because you're quite good in front of the camera. Right.
I'm terrible, but the edits I make look okay. Yeah.
How good's Adobe Premiere, eh?
Oh, mate. Yeah.
I thought you come across quite good.
Yeah, I mean, if I nail a take, like anyone, it works. But
it's the 50th.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So what do you like about advising? Because if you've been doing it for 14 years now, in between employed and self-employed, what keeps you here? Why? Do you love it? Or...
Yeah, I love what I do.
Awesome.
And I tell people I retired at 25 when I started my own business, because I just like to help people now in my spare time. And I just like what I do. I mean, I like the fact that what seems basic to me is world-changing stuff for other people. Much like, when I go to the personal trainer or someone like that, I was actually joking with someone the other day. It's like, you go to a doctor for, like, I had ankle surgery recently, and I had the post-surgery follow-up, and you go to the doctor, the specialist, and it's a 10-minute consult, and he's saying all this stuff, and I'm thinking, oh, yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's sweet. And I'm thinking, he's probably in the lunchroom chatting, I just had this wasted 10 minutes, For us, it can be the same.
Yeah.
We do this simple, basic meeting, and the client picks up one gold nugget that could change their life. So it's realizing that what we do, a lot of people have no idea about.
Yeah.
And we can share our knowledge and really help people.
Yeah, it's one of those things to remember. Like, it's hard. You forget sometimes when you're just going about your day-to-day, you're doing stuff that you know what you're doing. Then you get into a meeting and there'll just be a conversation that happens and you're like, shit, I forgot that's not common knowledge, or that's not something that everyone understands.
Yeah, definitely.
And you're like, oh, that's why I've got a job. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And as much, and it's the same thing, as much as, like, if you presented a risk plan, for example, and you spend the time and you've educated the clients on TBD and trauma, 10 minutes later, the client comes back and they actually didn't really remember.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's really disappointing
100%.
sometimes.
Yeah, and
you
and
pour your
that's
heart
why,
and soul into ASIC compliant documents, and
yes,
and they don't care.
And that's like when you do a review, all you need to do is just take that time as I'm just going to re-educate the client on what they've got and why.
So is that how you go about reviews?
Pretty much.
So
that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'd never heard it put so succinctly and simply before.
Yeah.
So you just re-educate the client on what they have.
Yeah, and why. And then, obviously we look at...
And then swap insurer.
Oh, mate. No.
Not on live podcast?
No,
Okay.
because it's not
We'll talk about this later.
1998.
But isn't that a business model in itself? Every 2 years.
Yeah. AP Financial Solutions, is it? Yeah.
Hey, no comms.
Yeah.
I swap them around, but I don't get anything for it. It's those back behind the scenes payments.
Yeah.
That's what,
Is this off the record?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
totally.
Yeah. For the record, this is off the record.
We put a huge disclaimer
And,
before the podcast plays.
Adrian's comments do not reflect my comments or thoughts.
You have been
Or
an
my
advisor
business
for a long
model
time.
does not reflect my business model.
Yeah, exactly. So because a review, and a lot of the clients, like, they just want to, like, again, a basic thing that we think's basic, like, oh, how is your spending going? Oh, I struggle. Okay, well, do we need to just increase the discretionary money by $20? Will that solve the problem? Because it's okay to spend money if you've got it.
Totally.
So it's just remembering that people value you. That's why they're there.
Totally, man.
And just to be in, like, your presence, they get value from, because their personal finance to them is the most important thing ever.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's the same as when you're going
I'm
through
a
a
doctor.
review.
Yeah.
Well, you thought you're going to talk about all this stuff. You planned it, and then you get in there and you don't even touch it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, a lot of the times my approach to a point with a client, they go, "Oh, we're thinking about this, thinking about that." I just go, "Well, what do you want to do?" "Oh, yeah, I do want to get a property." "All right, well, let's see how we can make that happen."
Yeah,
like, you know
sometimes
what I mean?
it's super simple.
Yeah,
hey?
that's right.
What do you want?
Yeah.
Okay, let's make that part happen.
If it's possible.
Yeah, if it's possible.
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Do that.
Yeah.
It's super. Like, at the end of the day, I feel like financial advice is potentially the easiest career path that you can have. But people are so emotional about money. They're not rational at all. That they have all these conflicting thoughts and motivations, and it ends up confusing themselves infinitely more than they need to. And the value of having someone walk in and just be very methodical, and like a doctor,
a coach even,
or like a coach, and just say, oh, it's actually not as hard as what you're perceiving. In fact, look, if we just do these things, you get what you want.
And the same thing as well. It's like you look at the best tennis player in the world. If it was Roger Federer, why does he need a coach? But it's because it's a third party that's looking at a different angle.
Well, exactly right. In fact, that's exactly why Paddy has a business coach, because he says if Roger Federer has a coach, then I need one as well.
Yeah,
exactly. Sean Green.
Yeah.
So you're talking about people's expenses and sort of having that discussion. How deep? There's a lot of talk, and everyone's trying to sort of develop propositions around the cash flow management space and get deeper there, because I think a lot of people agree that's the foundation where a lot of things happen. What do you do around that space?
I basically I've pretty much developed, if I take on a new client now, if you don't want to do one of my foundations, which is a cash flow plan, I won't take you on. Because everything that we do comes out of the day-to-day cash flow. 100%. And I basically explain to clients the reason it's so important is because to win the year, you need to win the months. To win the months, you need to win the week. So if we can really, and often that your financial well-being and success will happen at the day-to-day cafe and the day-to-day entertainment. Because if you can cap that I call it blow money, because you just blow it.
Just going to Johnny Depp.
That's right. Yeah. So basically, I like to.
It's the Central Coast, I guess. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Bit different.
Oh, mate, it's not Coogee. What?
We're doing a man down the pub sometimes.
Yeah. So I guess I like to tell people that I personally hate budgets, and because I don't want to go to a cafe or a restaurant and log that I've spent $5 on a coffee, because for me it goes under the column of life's too short.
Totally.
So I like to work out, get an idea from the client if they sit on the spectrum, if they're a spender or a saver, and I'll get either partner to. I go, so if you two were partners, I'd be like, oh, so Clayton, what would you say Adrian is? Is he a spender or a saver? And you say, oh, he's a spender. And he sits there and chuckles, like, it's the same, it's theatre, like, you get the same result, and they can pick each other, but it's like, okay, so we know that your natural proclivity is a spender, well, we know that, so... Yes.
I just learned a new word, by the way.
Yeah?
Proclivity.
That's okay, we'll get back to the thesaurus later.
Yeah. And I use the example of me. If there's a spender and saver spectrum, I actually sit outside of it on the spender side. So I know I'm actually nuts, and if there's money around, it's going to grow legs, and it's gone. So I've developed my budget around that I don't actually have to use my brain for it. So you have those discussions with the clients.
Yeah, the spender and the saver is a very interesting topic, because there's a range of you would call them sources that, or give or take. I don't know what you've looked at, but say that about 50% of people are spenders and 50% are savers.
Yeah.
And then you get sort of the more extremes.
Yeah.
Almost like normal standard deviations.
Yeah.
And and even the mass market, if you want to call it that first standard deviation of savers only save to spend. They don't even save
unless
to invest.
It's based on fear or lack, or there's some underlying poverty
Scarcity.
mentality in their life.
Right. Which would come from like a poor upbringing.
Poor upbringing or something.
Yes.
It's like I've got to hold every cent that I can, and it gets to the point where it's like, well, you're not tight, you're cheap. Like,
Yeah.
So is this a fluid thing, or do you have a systemized approach to this?
it's pretty systemized. I mean, the conversation's fluid. I just like to outline to the clients out loud that it's okay if you're a tight ass by nature. It's okay if you're a spender by nature. That's who you are. We can't change that to a point, but we can rein it in. And if you were the tight ass in the relationship, I would say you need to spend money and loosen up. So by actually setting up a blow account, your job for the week is to blow the money.
Yeah.
Like, you're allowed to. We've got permission. We've got our savings working here.
Yeah.
And I personally believe there's 3 things that everyone needs to be doing in their financial life: giving, saving, and spending. And
Giving.
yeah, even if you're not doing one of the 3, your financial life is out of balance.
Give to who?
Anyone you want. Charities,
Really?
organisations.
I've heard that a bit from different sources.
Yeah.
You like to promote that, do you?
People just need
Yeah.
to email you their bank details. Is
Yeah,
that-
yeah.
Cool. Okay. We'll get that in the.
It's a
notes later.
Nigerian bank, so you got to make sure that you can do the international transfer.
There's a SWIFT code.
Yeah.
Apparently Ripple, the cryptocurrency,
Yeah.
is about to replace that.
Really?
Yeah, just to drag the conversation back into cryptocurrency.
Well,
as much
yeah,
as
it's-
possible.
I don't think I've had a conversation with Clay without.
Right.
Hey,
Crypto mention.
I sold pretty much. at
How's
the peak.
this? I sold out. I don't care. I made like $8,000 US.
Ew! That's
and-
awesome.
Yeah, and I sold out like at the start of December or whatever. And I've got the builders at my house at the moment building an outdoor awning, and it's like the outdoor awning Litecoin built.
Oh, yes.
And it
Oh,
was-
you made all that from Litecoin,
Yeah.
Because
I-
Litecoin.
Oh mate, I was in
That
on
went
that
into
when it
your
was
blow account?
$40.
No way.
Yeah, I was over that bad boy. Like,
And then it went up to Australian went up to 400.
well,
10x.
okay,
They're 10x in like a month.
those playing at home with crypto always set your crap to US dollars. So I don't know what it was Australian, but I sold it about $350 US.
Sure. My goodness. And so,
so-
you've built an awning
Yeah.
from Litecoin.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
and I
To
mean,
protect
like,
you from the light.
exactly. Who is this guy?
This guy. So look, it's hit and miss. It's hit and miss. Sometimes
It's like a
hit.
shotgun approach. You might say.
You might.
No. Actually, I wouldn't call it a shotgun approach because you got a better chance of hitting. It's more of a sniper shot,
Yeah.
I think, because you got it's
Like a lot of
bigger-
winds
Yeah.
around. Like,
But it's funny. It's like I did a couple of blogs on the Bitcoin bubble, and when I say the Bitcoin bubble, I talk about crypto, and I'm like, hey, do what you want, but you know what I mean? Like, what do I know? And I just made a heap of money, but I'm pretty much sold out. Yeah.
Yeah, like I sold out about 10 days ago.
Yeah. Well,
And,
you did good.
Yeah. So I chucked in a couple of K.
Yeah.
And then so I put in 4K and
Yeah.
rode that bad boy up to about 24.
Yeah.
And then it came back down to about 20 and I was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
And I mean, I've still got Bitcoin and Neo, I think.
Neo's awesome.
Yeah, I don't even see. I've got this login on Bittrex, and my account's not verified. I don't even know the password. I just don't care. I'm like, oh, whatever. I'll surprise myself in a couple of years, and there might be
Yeah.
another.
I actually, my personal opinion is that, and I mean,
We're talking about
I
crypto.
could be wrong, but I think the world surely has realized that the market cap is outrageous.
Okay, my biggest thing is it at the moment the way it's behaving. It's not a currency.
Of course, it's not a currency.
Because you're not going to go to the freaking cafe and buy a $5 coffee with your Bitcoin, because next minute it could have been a $12 coffee.
Exactly.
Well,
but a lot of the technology is actually just technology. It's not
Yeah.
even meant to be used as a currency. So
No.
I feel like even the term cryptocurrency doesn't represent
I'm
what
keen,
99% of them are.
I think it'd be cool, like with the cryptocurrency and the blockchain technology, like, you know, you can send a once-off code to somebody to get into your house, that type of stuff. That's totally secure.
All that stuff. Yeah.
Yes. That, again, the tech, but the crypto.
One of the defining things of a currency is like stability. Like a good currency is stable and reliable.
And you can settle government debts with it.
Yeah, totally.
Can you do that with crypto?
I don't think the Australian government...
We just sell it and transfer it into...
Yeah, but I'm talking, it's like ato.com /
you can't BPay your tax bill.
Yeah.
Actually, you can electricity, I think, now.
Bitcoin or crypto.
Yeah, Bitcoin.
But that's got to be a marketing thing to get customers.
That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway,
no more Bitcoin.
I dragged us into it. I'll drag us back out.
It's horrible. It hurts me every time.
Yeah. Can I just say one thing about that? I knew it was time to sell when my neighbour, who has a gambling problem, was telling me about how much he knows about crypto and how much he's buying. I mean, when it gets to the point where a guy on a building site, he's buying crypto. I mean,
well, that's what I thought.
And it's like, yeah, mate, I've owned it for 5 months. Like, you're late to the party.
I know. On Reddit now, in the cryptocurrency, the main posts are all about suicide prevention, and I'm thinking, this is just the best proof that this is the most emotional style of investing that I've ever seen.
Free internet money.
Oh no!
It's it goes in the whole too good to be true bucket.
Yeah, correct.
And we can move on from it.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, Glenn, what's happening for the year? What's the game plan?
Well, I'm looking at. I run a pretty lean business. Looking at leaning it up even more.
Wow!
So I can focus.
As in, like losing weight, or?
Yeah, I need to do that as well, actually. Yeah. Don't get me
Pot
started.
kettle, mate. Jesus.
No, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Guy.
No.
It's just a dad joke. I wasn't saying
are you a dad that you know of?
Yeah. I got the dad bod.
So I'm thinking about
GQ's dad bod of the year right here.
So I've got a reminder in my phone for like August to send a Happy Father's Day card to my best friend. Anonymously. It's like, oh, hey Nick, now that I'm 18, I thought I'd reach out.
No.
I tracked your address down through the database and post it to him.
No.
That's my plan.
You're so brutal.
Yeah, I forgot to do it like last year, but I'm like, like on Father's Day last year, I'm like, I forgot. So I'm like, alarm.
Yeah, you're just coming into that range where those first couple of experiences could have yielded some crop.
Yeah. That's horrible. You are a farmer, aren't you? You just sow seed.
Oh, God. if we need to avoid crypto, we certainly need to avoid Adrian Paddy's.
How do we lift this?
So yeah, anyway, leaning up the business. I'm focusing more on the one-to-many coaching aspect, which has been very interesting with my licensee because they get scared when Glen James is writing posts about Bitcoin. But hopefully by the time people listen to this, that problem will be solved. So...
Well, hold up. You came back from FinCon. You had a bit of a game plan. Like, you've been kicked off something that's pretty ambitious.
So I've started... So I recorded a podcast at FinCon. I took all my gear... Like I had a heap of gear that I took to FinCon. There was a database like who wants to be interviewed. So I recorded like 7 interviews at FinCon.
Awesome.
Live in the lobby. Basically about everyday money management, just basic, consumer stuff. Launched that. And then before FinCon, I went to a friend's house in the Midwest and interviewed about 6 or 7 other people.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so I've released series 1 of the podcast, which is just called Money Nerds, sort your money out in the series 1 Money Nerds. Yeah. And then series 2 is going to be, I think I'm going to call it Random Chats with Glen or something like that, because what I'm doing, I interviewed people so I know a guy who's a musician in the States who's got a big following and he tours the States, and talking to him about...
You can name drop.
Oh, his band or group's called Vespertine. So if you look up Vespertine on Instagram, so he's got a big following of like teenagers and stuff. So I interviewed Vespertine and talked about the parallels between his music and the behaviours and the art form about that and translate that into personal finance habits and behaviors.
Whoa.
So just cool, interesting stuff.
That is cool.
A few of you might know a 1 part BTM pro tip. Does anyone know pro tip?
Is as a name.
Yeah, his name's
Pro
pro
tip.
tip. Yeah, there'll be people that would know him. Anyway,
That is an excellent name. If
Yeah.
I wanted advice from anyone, it would be from the guys
With
who
pro tip. Yeah.
with the pro tip.
So I interviewed Pro Tip last year at the AFA conference in my hotel room. It was fun. You shut up. No. And it was cool. So, for example, he's a marathon runner.
Oh, cool.
So I interviewed him about his life and marathon running and basically the parallels but with rhythm and behaviors back into personal finance.
Awesome, man.
Interviewed a non-for-profit cafe in Columbus, Ohio, where everything they make goes back into the community.
Wow.
And talked about small business. So season 2 of the podcast is about to launch when I edit it.
Wow.
So I'll be doing that this year. And then I'm working on season 3 of the podcast at the moment, which will be 8 episodes just on property investing. And I'll interview a series of real estate agent, a rental agent, a mortgage broker.
Off the plan.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, all that stuff, all the good stuff, you know?
Okay, so it's a thematic podcast then. You pick a theme, you do a season.
Because I never wanted to do I do a podcast and every week I have to release this and all this pressure because I hate pressure on myself.
Totally.
So I'm just going to dump seasons Netflix style.
Yes.
So I'm working on that. And I've had a good response. And
how long do you go for?
About 35, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about the audio.
Yeah, and I've got some cool audio gear, for those listening who are into that. I've got analog condenser microphones that go into a Yamaha unit, I forget what it's called, and then that converts the analog to digital. And I use Adobe Audition, so I've got a lot of options in the post world.
Yeah, right.
Sounds good.
Because it's there's so many podcasts out there that are shit quality.
Well, up
and
until
there's one thing. Oh, and also,
You wouldn't happen to come across XY Advisor podcast from 2016
yeah.
or 17.
or 17.
So, for example,
The guests were great. The quality, the audio.
yeah, that's
oh my
right. So,
goodness.
I just want to do it from day one. If people have the pleasure of letting me inside their ears, I'm going to be gentle to their ears.
Yes.
And so, for example, I'll master all the podcasts, and in Audition, it's is it LUF, audio guys? LUF 16 or something? LUF minus 16? Yeah, whatever that is.
Thumbs up.
So you've got to master your podcast. So if someone listens continuously, it's the same level. It's it's sitting up at the front. It's not in the background. So
Are you taking notes?
yeah.
Well, thankfully, we are in the capable hands of Joe and the team.
Yeah.
So we got sorted.
So yeah, so I'm big. I want to start my one-to-many stuff. I'm writing a book, and I probably need to ask you how to do that.
My biggest tip is don't.
Yes.
It's 18 months of torture.
Yeah.
It was very, very difficult. It was one of the things in life I would suggest is harder than you think.
Yes. Conversely, I spend a lot of time in cafes because I don't like working, but I take my laptop and work from there.
Yeah.
I was in a cafe, got talking to somebody. Anyway, he's a English, I can't even speak it, whatever. He's a professor at Sydney Uni,
Right.
English literature. Yeah,
Correct.
That's the word. He's like, oh, I'll help you structure it.
Ah, that's cool.
I'm like, cool. And then I was talking to someone else about my podcast in a cafe. I go to leave. This guy walks up to me. He goes, oh, hey, mate, I heard you talking about your podcast. Give us a call. He was the lead creative guy for Spotify Australia.
No way.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's mad.
they curate their podcast at the moment.
Yeah, how do you get on there?
They've got to approve it.
Okay.
So, yeah, I've just emailed him. So hopefully...
XY Advisor on Spotify.
Well, yeah,
you...
get us in. Very good. All right, mate. Well, let's wrap it up. How do people find out, more about what you're doing?
They can go to Instagram, Sort Your Money Out.
Yep.
Facebook, @Sort Your Money Out.
Yep.
if you want to have a listen to the podcast, and you can just type in Glen James or Sort Your Money Out on the Apple thing, podcast, or Android or whatever.
And if you're in the Facebook group, just tag him and he'll in a question and he'll jump in there and answer.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, if you're in the Facebook group, tag me. There will be a sarcastic comment like,
Thanks for the tag.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So I like to ruffle feathers.
All right. Well,
but thanks for having me. It's been fun. I don't know. I'm thinking like right now. Okay, so we've talked about all that crap. Now let's get started with the podcast.
Well, we can maybe make it into a Glen James series or something.
Oh yeah,
thematic.
That's right. You don't want to bore the listeners, but
you can take a boy out of the coast, but you can't take coast out of the boy.
Much like Coogee.
Hey,
representing. All right, guys.
All right.
Excellent.
See
Thanks a
you
lot.
soon.
Cool.
Bye-bye.
Bye.